In this video, we're going to dive into one of the most profound chapters of the entire Bible, Daniel chapter 6. If you grew up in the church, you've seen this story on felt boards or in children's books. But the Bible's account isn't just a child's story. It is a masterclass in spiritual warfare, political intrigue, and the physics of a miracle. We are going to look at why a man was thrown into a pit of apex predators and why, legally and spiritually, those lions were forbidden from touching him. Imagine the silence of the king's court as he presses his signet ring into the wet clay, sealing a man's fate. The Bible says in verse 17 that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. The world had a purpose for Daniel, destruction. But God had a purpose for Daniel, a testimony that would shake the Persian Empire. Let's find out how we get from the seal of a king to the salvation of the Lord. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the prince might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Wait, stop right there. Why did Daniel survive the lions? Well, you see, it started decades before he ever saw a lion. It started with his excellent spirit. In the Bible, excellent means surpassing. Daniel didn't just meet the standard, he was the standard. Think about the environment Daniel was in. He was in exile. He was an old man in a young man's game. And yet, he was so faithful that his enemies, the presidents and princes, spent their entire careers trying to find a fault in him and found nothing. I want to talk to you for a moment about the word faithful. It means he was steady. He didn't have off days in his integrity. He didn't cut corners in his taxes or on his administration. If you want God to show up in your crisis, you have to show up in your character. Daniel was untouchable by his enemies because he was unshakable in his ethics. Now let's look at the conspiracy. Verses 6 through 9 describe a group of jealous leaders coming to the king with a plan. They knew they couldn't catch Daniel breaking a law of man, so they had to create a law that conflicted with the law of God. They convinced the king to sign a decree. For 30 days, no one could ask a petition of any god or man except for the king. And they added this phrase, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. In that time, the king's word was considered divine. To change a law was to admit the king was wrong, and the king was never allowed to be wrong. This was the ultimate cancel culture. They didn't just want Daniel out of office. They wanted him in the ground. They used the very legal system he served to try and destroy him. Have you ever felt like the rules were being changed specifically to target your faith? Probably not nowadays, but that is exactly where Daniel found himself. This is probably the most important part of our study. Let's read verse 10. Now when Daniel knew the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he knelt upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed, and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. Notice 3 things here that explain why he survived. First, when he knew the writing was signed, Daniel didn't pray because he was ignorant of the danger. He prayed because he knew the danger. Second, his window being open towards Jerusalem. Why Jerusalem? It was a pile of rubble at that time, but Daniel was a student of the Word. He remembered Solomon's prayer in 1 Kings 8, where Solomon asked God to hear the prayers of those who prayed toward the temple while in captivity. Daniel wasn't just being sentimental, he was being scriptural. He was standing on a promise that was hundreds of years old. Third, and this is the key to the whole thing, as he did aforetime. Daniel didn't start a prayer meeting because there were lions in his future. He had a prayer meeting every day because God was his life. Daniel survived the lions because he had already defeated fear in his prayer closet aforetime. Consistency is the parent of miracles. In verse 14 through 18, we see a fascinating contrast between two men. King Darius realized he had been played. The Bible says he was sore displeased with himself, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him.
Is this not the edict from the king, signed with your own seal? Let it be known that for the next 30 days, anyone who prays to any god or man other than Darius the king shall be thrown into the lion's den on the same day the offense is discovered. By my hand and seal, Darius the king, ruler of the Medes and Persians.
Here's the most powerful man on earth, sweating and pacing, trying to find a legal loophole to save his friend. He has the palace, the guards, and the gold, and he is miserable. Then you have Daniel. He is being led to a hole in the ground filled with hungry predators. And yet, we don't see a single word of Daniel complaining, begging, or arguing. The king says to him in verse 16, "Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee." Even the pagan king recognized the continual nature of Daniel's faith. Daniel was cast in. The stone was sealed. The king went to his palace and couldn't sleep. He fasted. He was in a palace, and it felt like a prison. Daniel was in a prison, and because of the presence of God, it felt like a sanctuary. Your environment does not determine your peace. Your proximity to the Father does. Very early in the morning, the king runs to the den and cries out. He asks if Daniel's God was able to deliver him. Listen to Daniel's response in verse 22. "My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, forasmuch as before him innocence was found in me. And also before thee, O king, I have done no hurt." Why did he survive? Well, the angel. God's presence was physical. He was right with God. He was right with man. Verse 23 gives the final verdict. No manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. It wasn't that the lions weren't hungry. It was that they were forbidden. The laws of the Medes and Persians said he must die, but the law of the Spirit of life said he would live.